I welcome you all to my next lecture of Osha Online Training. This is basically a managerial level of training I'm providing to you. But first, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please subscribe it and like it and also share it with your friends. Today, our topic is basically material handling. This is really an important topic on industry level because on almost all industries and corporations or companies, material handling is a process which is unavoidable and have to take place. So today we will briefly discuss it and some hazards associated with it, how we can handle material. There are basically two types of material handling which we will discuss today, and hazards related with it. We will also discuss that what are some of the safe methods. So today we will focus basically on material handling. So today lecture outline is basically handling and storing materials. Our first point will be how to handle and store different kind of materials. We will also see that why we need to store those materials. We will also see that what are some of the hazards which are linked with material handling in the workforce area. Of course, there would be some hazards and risk when a person do when a person do some kind of material handling and storing either with machine or manually. So there must be some hazards and dangerous situations related with it. Next would be when we should ask for help. What are some of the situations where we should not do the task alone? Then we will discuss that what are some of the safe lifting in case of manual handling, and then safe lifting in case of machines. So we can handle material either with manual or machines. So first, handling and storing materials. So remember that handling and storing material in certain kind of industries or corporations are basically required, and it is a must thing to do, and it can either be done manually or by machine. There are some of the materials or stuff which are not that much heavy and which can be handled by a man or a person or a worker, but there are certain other kind of material which are too much heavy and which cannot be handled by a man. So for this case, certain kind of machines are required which works in the industry or corporation. First, let's see that what is manual material handling. Carrying certain kind of bags or other materials or stuff is called manual material handling. Unpacking certain kind of materials by different workers is called manual material handling. Why it is required? Because if there is some industry and certain kind of stuff or products are prepared, so different kind of materials are required to be carried from one place to another. So this is already a simple concept and it is required and unavoidable task. Next is basically material handling via machine. So material can be handled via certain kind of machines such as forklift, crane, and rigging. What is forklift? Forklift is a certain kind of machine. You can see on the right side, this is a forklift, and it basically contain a pallet in front or on the back side. In this case, it have the pallet on the back side. So what it basically do, a load or material has been placed on this pallet and it carry it from one place to another place. So this is basically a forklift machine. The forklift machine basically carry the load from one place to another in the industry. This may be a heavy load. Up to certain extent it will carry it and place it and store it at some other place. Another type of machine is basically crane. We will see in the next slide that what is crane and how it looks like. So it is a big machine. It is really a huge machine. We will not go into the detail of what is forklift and what is crane and what is rigging that much, because it's a separate topic and there are certain hazard safety related with those machines, but we will just see an overview. Next is rigging. Rigging is a kind of machine which is having ropes or chains which hold certain kind of heavy materials. Rigging is a kind of machine you may have seen in certain kind of industries. It contains ropes or different kind of strong chains which basically hold certain kind of material and place those materials from one place to another place. So via machine we basically store different kind of drums, barrels, lumbers, bricks, or other materials. So you may be aware of what is drums, barrels, bricks, but let me tell you about lumber. Lumber is basically household stuff or furnitures which is not in the order and which needs to be placed or stored without proper order from one place to another. So lumber is basically household stuff or different kind of furniture. Forklift is required in such case to carry those materials. We will see the role of crane in the other slides. And rigging is basically a machine which have ropes or chains to hold certain kind of materials. You should be clear of the concept that material handling can be either done through manual or via machine. Now, there are some hazards or risks associated with material handling, and you should know about it because, being as a safety officer, you should instruct the forklift truck driver or the crane driver that you should operate the machine in that way. The worker or the driver must also know about those hazards, but it's very important for a safety officer or line manager to know such hazards, and he must have to assess in the risk assessment process that what are some of the hazards associated with machines, or for example a forklift machine. So in that case, a safety officer must know the hazards, because if he do not pay attention to this, then an accident may happen. And we will discuss this thing in the NEBOSH course in very depth, and this is really an important topic. In almost every NEBOSH exam this question comes, so it's really important. You should know about such machines and hazards associated with it, because without it you will lose one or two questions in the NEBOSH exam. So improper manual lifting of material that might be too heavy or large. Well, there might be some improper manual lifting of material. A man can lift a material which may be very huge or large in size, and he may actually lift it not in a proper way. There is a proper way of lifting material, and there is some rules regarding it. So a worker can lift things improperly, and things which are too heavy or large in size, struck by material or being caught in pitch point. This is the case in the forklift machine. For example, a forklift machine is basically carrying the material, and it may struck by other material or other machine, or a material placed in its path. Then in that case, an accident may happen. A forklift truck driver may hit some other material placed in front of it, beside it, or in the path. So in that case, we should also look that the path should be clear in a forklift, so that a forklift truck driver can safely travel and take the material. The next point is that it may also caught in pitch points. What is pitch points? Pitch point is basically points where the path become narrow and there is a huge traffic, or it may be hit with other machine. For example, there is a path in the industry where it is very narrow and a forklift is unable to carry those material in that way, or some other machine may came in front of it and may hit it. So in that case, we should also take care of this fact that a forklift machine should not caught in pitch points. So this is the case, and it occurred frequently, so we should have to look after this hazard as well. Crushed by materials or falling objects. There may be material which can be hit by the forklift truck driver. Some object may fall down, so in that case there may be an accident and a driver may be injured, or a forklift truck driver. So this is also another hazard. Incorrectly cutting ties or securing devices. It means that a driver basically stop the forklift machine incorrectly and not secure it properly. So securing devices or cutting ties means that the stopping of the machine by the driver. So when you don't know how to do it, so he may incorrectly cut the ties or secure device. So in that case, it's also required to know these hazards, and a driver must know that how to do it, and he should be instructed by a safety officer. When to ask help in manual handling. If a worker do manual handling, in that case it is really important, when the load is too heavy to lift, he should ask for help, because he may injure himself. So it's important to ask for help if the load is too much heavy. When you can't see around or the load, if the load is too much, then in that case it's really important to ask for help, or to ask for other workers to help you. When you can't safely handle the load, if you are aware of the fact that the load are more than my capability and I can't handle it and take it from one place to another, in that case you should ask for help. These points are really important for any worker who do manual handling. To avoid chances of fingers smashed, attached handles to loads. Fingers smashed mean that if you carry a too heavy load, in that case it may injured or it may smash your hands. So in that case you should attach handles to load. When you attach handles to loads, in that case it will be easy to take it up and your fingers or hands may not be smashed. Now, what is safe lifting in case of manual handling? So, in case of manual handling, what are some of the procedures which should be taken in case for safe lifting? So, break the load into parts. If there is a too heavy load, then divide it into loads so it will be minimized in size. In that case, you will be able to carry it from one place to another. Ask for help in case of heavy items, as we have discussed this in previous slide. Lift with legs, keep your back straight, don't twist. What does it mean? When you are bending to take the load from the floor and take it up, in that case don't bend your back because it may injure your back. You have to bend your legs and sit, and don't twist your back and then carry the load in your hands and stand up. So you should not bend or twist your back, but you should basically sit on your legs and make your back straight and lift the load up. Use handles aids such as shoulder pads, handles and wheels. When you are basically placing some materials on your shoulder, in that case put shoulder pads on your shoulders, place it in handles or different kind of wheels if it's too much heavy. Avoid to lift above the shoulder level. You should remember that you should not lift the material above the shoulder level. It is really important because it's not good for your health if you take it above your shoulder level. Now, what are some of the safe usage or material handling via machine? So the first important point is that never lift people. On my right side, this is basically a crane. On my right side, you can see a crane. This is a crane on the ship. A crane can also work on the ship. It can also work on the ground. So I have just taken the picture of the crane which is working on the ship. You may have seen that a crane basically lift the people up from one place to another. So this is really a bad procedure, and it is really not recommended, and you should avoid it. Always check overhead power lines when working in the industry. In the working area, you should make sure that there are no overhead electricity power lines. So for example, because a crane is having a really huge height, so in that case you should avoid the contact with the electrical power lines because it may make the crane driver in danger, and it's not good for him and make him in danger. Ensure the area of work is clear. When the crane is operating in the area, make sure that the working area is clear and the crane can operate, because you may have seen that the crane rotates. So it's really important that there is no one or no other material or machines which may be hit by the crane. The workers should also avoid those area where the crane can hit them. So there is basically a huge number of hazards involved with crane, but we will basically discuss them in the next chapter in the detail. But I am just giving you an overview that the area should be clear for the work when the crane operates. Check the load chart in the cab of the machine. There is basically a chart in every cab of a machine. There is a chart in the cab of a crane and a forklift, and it is written on it that the crane should or the forklift should take up how much load, and it should maintain how much distance from other materials or stuff. So there is a proper instruction, and a crane driver or forklift driver does know this fact very clearly and knows about it. A safety officer should ask him to look for the load chart in the cab and work accordingly. So guys, this was about material handling. I hope you like it. So please subscribe my channel and share this video with your friends. I will see you in next lecture. Take care and bye.